think what's wonderful about the story that Rudyard Kipling had written is that it appeals to every age group through time. When I was a kid, in the early 80s, and we watched Disney's Jungle Book, which I was told today released in '67, your favorite character inevitably was Baloo, because he was the fun-loving guy. As a kid, you like that. But then when you grow older, your choices change. And then as an adult, you prefer a character like Bagheera because he represents certain responsibilities and values which reflect within you. So what's really nice is, I think, whichever stage of your life you watch this film or read the story, there's something for each and every age group to take away from. There are great sense of values, morals, principles, life's learnings and teachings that you can imbibe and take away. So I think that's why this story keeps getting retold. Having said that, I think Mowgli is the most accurate telling to Kipling's story. I think the rest have been, there have been certain liberties that have been taken to make it more possibly child-friendly. I think Mr. Serkis's version is most honest and true to the original script that Rudyard Kipling had written. Having said that, I think you realize that there's a lot more depth in the story. Okay, there's somebody frantically waving a hand in front of your face. Okay, sorry. All right. No, I'm just used to Netflix saying 5 minutes, 3 minutes. I was just wondering, are they telling me to shut up? Sorry. Sorry. Hurry up, hurry up. Okay. It's a 30-second bite.
Netflix, not from Netflix. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I think you realize that there's so much more depth and layering to this story than what we initially thought when we saw it as children. And I think this representation of the story is most accurate of that, and that's why it appeals across time.
I believe there was a question coming from that side. Where? Okay.
Hi, my question is for Mr. Christian Bale. This is Pooja from Good Times. I wanted to ask you, Bagheera is the Black Panther, but he's also mentor and friend to the man-cub Mowgli. So how did you prepare for this role, and was there pressure in adapting Mr. Serkis's interpretation of Bagheera?
No pressure at all. I mean, Andy, we first met when I was 19 years old. He's always been a phenomenal actor. And then he's really mastered this whole performance capture thing, which when you first start it, you think, what are the secrets? What are we looking for? There's always those elements that you're not sure what the priority is, but he could guide me on that. And eventually it just comes down to it's acting. It's just like anything else. It's just different distractions with performance capture than anything else. Bagheera is really fantastic character. It was really about observing panthers, trying to get the movement down. With performance capture, you get to act directly, with Andy and with Rohan, and we had a great sort of 3-4 crazy days of doing that, but it affects your performance completely. It's fascinating. It's a new world of possibilities of what an actor can transform himself into.
Over here, right here. Mr. Christian Bale, my question is again to you. This is Russell De Silva. What I would like to know is that you have a knack for completely physically and emotionally transforming into any character you play. But unlike many great actors alike today, you also started out as a child actor like Rohan, perhaps 12 or 13 when you did Empire of the Sun. So is there any point when perhaps a saturation sets in, or you feel like you need to take a break considering the demanding roles you do?
Yes.
But could you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
No, sorry.
No.
I didn't hear the last bit.
Could you elaborate on that?
Could you elaborate on that?
Elaborate? Yeah, you just got to stop acting, be human. But Rowan's got tons of different interests. He's a really intelligent kid, way more intelligent than I will ever be in my lifetime. And just being curious about different things, and that informs being a good actor. You got to walk away from it. You got to walk away from films. I imagine every actor up here will say that. Acting itself doesn't lead to better acting, life and living that. And so enjoying your downtime. And I'm always someone who I'm kind of kicking and screaming before I go work. I don't actually love working. I love not working. And then when I start working, I love working, and I never want to stop that. So I like whatever I'm doing, but I've recognized that if I don't have downtime, you start to just sort of act like other actors instead of acting like people.
Where, ma'am? Here.
जी मेरा सवाल अपने सभी अभिषेक, माधुरी मैम, अनिल जी एंड करीना आप चारों से है कि यूजुअली आप लोग जो डबिंग करते हैं वो बेसिकली अपने अपने किरदारों को, जो किरदार आप लोग खुद जीते हैं उनके लिए करते हैं. यहाँ जब आप एक मतलब जो किरदार जब अलग से डब कर रहे हैं जो आपने निभाया.
To the python.
You haven't spoken, so please.
हाँ, मैं हट जाता हूँ. मेरे को पता है, मेरे को मार पड़ेगी. 1 second. Good enough, you guys? You can see? Yeah, please, Kareena.
Well, of course, from the roles that I've played normally, which has been, completely different to what Kaa's character required. I think I enjoyed this a lot more because I found her voice very, very powerful, very, very, it had to be slightly hypnotic because she kind of hypnotizes Mowgli and, in a way to take his decision, and shows him the way, to his journey, the path. So obviously it's slightly hypnotic, slightly seductive, very, very powerful. I felt like when I was dubbing, I felt like, I don't know, I was like on stage. I had to be slightly more theatrical. The voice had to sound like it wasn't me. So I actually enjoyed doing it. When it was over, I was like, God, why weren't there more scenes?
Madhuri, ma'am?
I think it was great doing this because the actor who actually played the original character of the mother, Miss Harris, she did a brilliant job. And all I had to do was just use my voice and her expressions and just get the flow of it. It's a beautiful character. It's that of a mother who accepts Mowgli as a child. He's very different from their clan. He's a man cub. And yet she goes out, she's generous, she is loving, she's giving, and she accepts him as his own. And that was a wonderful thing, I think, which is needed in the world today. People are different, and you need to embrace something that's different, and that's what she does. And I enjoyed playing her, because she was beautiful, she's ferocious, she will protect her man cub right here at every cost. And I just loved and enjoyed playing her.
Anil sir, I'm going to add a little more to the question. When you watch the Hindi trailer, Anil Kapoor is also there. Like, the way you speak, in real life, and even Balu, there are these worlds that are mixing. Is it difficult? And every actor wants to do a role, if it's been done before, differently. Were you watching what was happening in the English version while you were,
I did say that, yeah, I did, because I would, try out first, and as I said it, that if I got stuck and I was not happy, and I would listen to it, because I would go back and forth, listen to it in the theater, go into the, do all those crazy things, and, and then I had the reference, so I was fortunate that I had the reference of the great Andy, otherwise, still, I think I have to learn a lot, with just the beginning, for me at least, and I wish I get an opportunity where I would get to work with all these great talented people like Christian Bale and Andy, and of course,
Abhishek just mentioned.
yeah, Frida, I've all, of course I did, the phenomenal film which we did together. It was a great experience and it was wonderful. And again, we are on the stage again after 10 years. I hope
This
this
is winning
also...
awards, basically.
No, it's not the award. I think more importantly, we should not think about the awards. I think it's the more the people see it and enjoy it and remember it. I think that's what our reward is. Yeah.
Sir, was it easy? No, not Louis, not you. Abhishek, was it just easy to get the swagger? Because I think Bagheera's character has got a lot of swagger. The way he speaks, he's of course training the man cub Mowgli. Was it easy for you to just be this deep baritone voice which you already have? Ooh, 5-mark question.
No, it was very, very challenging. What was liberating about this entire exercise is, I think for the first time, in our films, in our industry, there is a huge element of your personality that you always bring to a character, which is probably not prevalent in the West. In Indian cinema, that's almost a prerequisite. What was nice is you got liberated because you got to be an entirely new character and you weren't confined within those boundaries. What was really nice is, I wasn't playing a human being, so that was new. And keeping that in mind and keeping the way Mr. Circus had designed the character, the way, Christian had performed it, and then to try and Indianize it, that was very challenging. Also, to fit linguistically Hindi into an English dialogue is very challenging. They're two completely separate languages which have a different tone, a different meter. So that was challenging. But I think in terms of, to answer your question, I think these two gentlemen brought in all the attitude and swag that Bagheera needed. We merely tried to live up to the standards that they had set.
I'm going to take one more question.
Honestly, I was very, it was an honor for me that I was approached to do Baloo's character. And of course, when I saw the film and saw portions of it and read about it, I said, it's definitely more textured and more layered, so it made it much more exciting. And of course, it became a bit, I have to be very honest, because there was, whenever I got stuck and because you see, obviously, we're used to having the director when we were doing the voiceover, so I was, if he was not there physically present, but Andy's voice was there. So whenever I got stuck, I would hear his voice again and again and again and again and understand what is he thinking, how is he doing it. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So because it became a great reference for me whenever I got stuck. You see, my interpretation was there, but there are times when you need someone to bounce. So this was a great time. I would listen to it 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, and understand it, and then go and do it. So that made it much more exciting for me. Yeah. Thank you very much.
And also, what was it like working with Andy again?
Well, it's always a pleasure working with Andy, and I hope there's many more. Andy and I, when we worked on Rise of the Planet of the Apes, that was my 4th film ever of my career. And I had no idea what motion capture was or what I was going to have to do on set. And it's a very strange thing when you come to set and you watch a grown man in a suit with dots on his face and a camera attached to his head. And then Andy starts performing, and then you completely forget that you're watching a man. You're just watching Caesar come to life. So similarly, I knew, working with Andy on this particular project, that all the animals, all the actors lending themselves to motion capture were going to be taken care of, because really what he's focused on is a performance and not just, the big set of it all. What was your other part of your question? Was how did it influence? How did my childhood influence? The beautiful part about this Mowgli adaptation, and I don't know if everyone has seen it, is really what Andy does. It's an ode to India. I remember him telling me before, I think it was before I left for South Africa, that he wanted to do my parts in Hindi and he wanted to attempt it and go down that route. And for all of us who remember, on Doordarshan, we'd watch Jungle Book every Sunday. And there's so much of the human life in the village that was captured in that version, and I have not seen that version anywhere else, in any other adaptation. So for me to go to South Africa and actually work with fellow actors, all speaking in Hindi, all enjoying a kind of a version of the Holi festival, singing a lullaby written and composed by Nitin Sawhney, all of those beautiful things that I associate with India came to life in this movie. So yeah, very grateful to Andy for letting me speak in Hindi in this film and letting me dub myself.
Okay, that was bound to happen.
I didn't hear the question.
Your own kids.
Haji.
You want to repeat?
Yeah, I mean, he's 2, so not...
He's 2. For you, he's 2. And?
So not right now.
Not right now.
I put a lot of work into this through the physical side of the character. I did a lot of research on YouTube, and I actually went to upstate New York to camp out with wolves in a wolf conservatory center in order to observe their movements and kind of observe how they interact with each other, and I try to apply that to Mowgli.
Man, I like it. He did his research on YouTube. I would have aced my exams if I had the internet back then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, of course, I have a lot of questions, but I'm sure that you want to ask your questions. So if you could just raise your hand and a mic would reach you from friends here. Yes, there's a question. Yes, we could start from here. Oh, there's a question coming from there. There's already a mic.
I have the mic,
Hi.
so shall I just start?
Ma'am, if you could just address.
Okay, I have the mic, so I'm just
Yes.
going to start. Hi, my question's for Andy, actually. You know, I know Suren just asked you about Jungle Book in the modern context, but my question is actually a variation on that. What would you say is the relevance of the story today, especially with the whole sort of man-animal conflict, conservation, the environment? You know, there's like kind of sharks, Jaws made sharks scary. Is there a possibility that kids might be afraid of tigers after this? I'm just wondering about all these sort of, and the film does have layering about these things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that our version of the film does. First of all, it digs into the notion of what it is to be an outsider. That is perhaps the most important aspect of the film. What it is to feel displaced. What it is to not feel that you belong anywhere. And that's why I think it will resonate. We live in a world that is full of people who are told to find differences in others rather than accept others. And we, you know, that is one of the things that I think is incredibly powerful about this story of belonging. I think on a sort of a very small kind of political level, you can't make a version of the Jungle Book now in 2018 without recognizing when it was written, where it was set, the history of the time, and we've tried to bring that to bear in some small way in the film, in the way that in the human relationship to the jungle, in the terms of colonization, in the terms of you know, the world of animals having to recede and to be threatened and to somehow survive. So there is a comment on the fact that we are daily losing great swathes of paradise in our world. Yeah, and historically, when Rudyard Kipling was writing this book, and what he means, you know, and I firmly believe that his DNA is part of this storytelling. This boy that was brought up in India, whose first language was Hindi, who then was sent away to live in a foreign land, and was abused as a child. So I think that all those aspects really play into a modern retelling, and I don't think you can actually do it by doing a whitewashed version of this film. I think you have to connect with the place that it was originally written and based, and I think that's what we've done.
And a quick question for your son. What was it like working with Dad and doing what he's made so famous the world over with his performance capture techniques?
Yeah, it was great working with him. Obviously, it's cool to see that he's developed this way of acting, and it's been cool to like try out, you know, the performance capture suit. But it was cool because we'd go into work together, and then we'd come back, and it was just like a normal day. Me getting home from work, him getting home from work. So it was cool. It was a new experience.
All right, there's a question coming from Rudrani. Yes.
Hi, Rohan. I thought you were fantastic in the trailer. What's very interesting is that Mowgli, you know, in different versions, has been always seen as this boy who's been brave, but yet there's this cuteness about him. What we see here is more like a warrior towards the end, where you sort of take on the world. Did you ever think, if you read books, that you would sort of be portraying this version slightly darker, slightly more